The coffee mug sat exactly 3 inches from the edge of the kitchen counter, its handle turned precisely at 45 degrees. Marcus stood in the doorway of their empty apartment, staring at the space where Emma used to leave her cup every single morning, always in that exact spot, always at that exact angle. He could still see the faint ring marks on the counter from years of the same routine. His chest tightened as he realized he would give anything to see that mug there one more time. If you've ever loved someone so deeply that even their smallest quirks became the things you cherished most, then this story is for you. Stay with me until the end, because what Marcus discovers about love will change the way you see the people in your life. And if this story touches your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more stories that celebrate the beautiful complexity of human connection. Marcus Chen had never believed in love at first sight until he met Emma Rodriguez at a crowded bookstore on a rainy October afternoon. She was reaching for the same worn copy of poetry on the top shelf, her fingers brushing against his. But it wasn't that moment that made him fall in love. It was what happened next. She sneezed 3 times in rapid succession, exactly 3 times, never more, never less, and then apologized to the book as if she had somehow offended it. Marcus had laughed, and Emma had turned the most remarkable shade of pink he had ever seen. That was 7 years ago. 7 years of discovering the intricate patterns that made Emma who she was. She always put on her left sock before her right. She hummed the same melody when she was nervous, a tune from a childhood lullaby her grandmother used to sing. She folded the corners of pages in books at her favorite passages, creating a map of moments that had moved her. She talked to plants as if they were old friends, updating them on her day and asking about theirs. She counted steps when she climbed stairs, her lips moving silently with each number. Most people would have found these habits strange or quirky at best, but Marcus found them enchanting. To him, they were the brushstrokes that painted the masterpiece of who Emma was. He began to notice how she arranged her desk with meticulous care, pens organized by color, papers stacked in perfect right angles. He loved how she always tasted her food before adding salt, then added exactly 3 shakes, never 2, never 4. He adored the way she rewound conversations in her head, sometimes responding to something he had said hours earlier, as if no time had passed at all. Their friends often joked about how different they were. Marcus was spontaneous and scattered, leaving a trail of forgotten keys and misplaced phones wherever he went. Emma was ordered and deliberate, a woman who planned her grocery list by aisle number and set out her clothes the night before. But somehow, they fit together like puzzle pieces that shouldn't match but created something beautiful when they did. The first crack in their perfect world came on a Tuesday morning in spring. Emma had been forgetting things, small things at first. She left her coffee mug on the counter without adjusting its angle. She put on her right sock before her left and didn't notice. She climbed the stairs without counting. Marcus had smiled at first, thinking she was simply preoccupied with the big project at work she had mentioned. But then came the moment that changed everything. They were cooking dinner together, something they did every Saturday evening, when Emma reached for the salt shaker and paused, staring at it as if she had forgotten what it was for. The pause lasted only a few seconds, but in those seconds, Marcus felt fear grip his heart like an icy hand. Emma shook her head, laughed it off, and continued cooking. But Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Over the next few months, the changes became impossible to ignore. Emma started writing everything down in a small notebook she carried everywhere. She set alarms on her phone for the simplest tasks. She stopped talking to her plants because she said she couldn't remember what she had already told them. The little habits that had once been so precise began to dissolve like watercolors in rain. Marcus wanted to pretend everything was fine. He wanted to believe this was just stress or exhaustion. But the day Emma couldn't remember the melody she always hummed when nervous, the day she looked at him with confusion and asked what song he was talking about, he knew they could no longer ignore reality. The diagnosis came on a gray November morning that matched the color of Marcus's heart. Early onset Alzheimer's disease. The doctor's words felt like stones dropping into still water. each one creating ripples that would forever change the surface of their lives. Emma was only 34 years old. They were supposed to have decades ahead of them. They were supposed to grow old together, not watch her memories fade while she was still young. The drive home from the hospital was silent except for the sound of rain against the windshield. Marcus gripped the steering wheel so tightly his knuckles turned white. Emma stared out the window, her notebook clutched in her lap. When they pulled into their driveway, she finally spoke. Her voice was quiet but steady. "I'm scared I'm going to forget us," she said. "I'm scared I'm going to forget all the little things that make us who we are." Marcus turned to her, his eyes burning with tears he refused to let fall. "Then we'll make sure you don't," he said. "We'll write it all down, every moment, every habit, every single thing that makes you Emma. We'll capture it all so that even if your memory fades, the story of who you are will remain." And so they began what Emma called their memory project. Every evening after dinner, they would sit together and Emma would write in leather-bound journals that Marcus bought by the dozen. She documented her habits with scientific precision. The 3 sneezes, the left sock first, the 45-degree angle of the coffee mug, the 3 shakes of salt. She wrote about her childhood, her dreams, her fears, her favorite moments with Marcus. She pressed flowers between the pages and taped ticket stubs from movies they had watched. She included photographs with detailed captions, explaining not just what was happening in the image, but what she had been feeling, what she had been thinking, what the day had smelled like. Marcus participated in the project with devotion that bordered on obsession. He filmed videos of Emma doing ordinary things, making coffee, watering plants, walking through their favorite park. He recorded her voice reading her favorite poems. He photographed her hands, her smile, the way she looked when she was concentrating. He was building an archive of the woman he loved, desperate to preserve every pixel of her existence. But as the months passed, Marcus began to realize something that both broke his heart and opened it wider than he thought possible. The habits he loved weren't just quirks or patterns. They were Emma's way of creating order in a chaotic world. They were her anchors, keeping her grounded when everything else felt uncertain. And as those habits began to slip away, he understood that loving someone meant loving not just the habits themselves, but the person beneath them, the soul that existed whether she counted stairs or not, whether she arranged her desk or not, whether she remembered his name or not. The hardest day came almost 2 years after the diagnosis. Marcus came home from work to find Emma sitting on the kitchen floor, surrounded by her journals, tears streaming down her face. She looked up at him with an expression of such profound loss that he felt his own heart crack. "I read these pages," she said, holding up one of the journals with shaking hands, "and I know this. Person wrote them. I know it's my handwriting, but I don't remember writing most of it. It's like reading a stranger's diary, except the stranger is supposed to be me." Marcus sat down beside her on the cold tile floor and pulled her into his arms. He held her while she sobbed, while she grieved for the memories she was losing, for the future they would never have the way they had planned it. And in that moment, something shifted inside him. He realized he had been so focused on preserving Emma's habits, on documenting who she was, that he had forgotten to simply be with her in the present moment. "Emma," he said softly, lifting her chin so she could see his eyes, "listen to me. I fell in love with your habits because they were windows into your soul. I loved the way you organized your desk because it showed me how you brought beauty to chaos. I love the way you counted stairs because it showed me how you found rhythm in ordinary moments. I love the way you talked to plants because it showed me your capacity for nurturing and kindness. But those habits were never what I truly loved. What I love is the person who created those habits. I love your kindness, your creativity, your strength, your vulnerability. I love the essence of who you are, and that doesn't disappear even if the habits do." Emma looked at him with tears still glistening on her cheeks. "But what if I forget who that person is?" she whispered. "Then I'll remember for both of us," Marcus said, "and I'll spend every day showing you who you are through the way I love you." From that day forward, Marcus changed his approach. Instead of frantically documenting every moment, he began to focus on creating new ones. He took Emma on adventures to places she had always wanted to visit. They danced in their living room to songs that made her smile, even if she couldn't remember why they were significant. They cooked meals together, and when Emma forgot a step, Marcus gently guided her without making her feel inadequate. They sat in comfortable silence, holding hands, finding peace in simply being together. He learned to love the new habits that emerged as the old ones faded. Emma started collecting smooth stones from their walks, lining them up on the windowsill in patterns only she understood. She developed a fascination with watching birds, sitting for hours observing their movements. She began painting abstract images that seemed to capture emotions she could no longer express with words. Marcus loved these new habits just as much as the old ones because they were still Emma, still expressing herself, still finding ways to interact with the world even as that world became increasingly confusing. The journals remained, but they became something different. Marcus started reading them to Emma, not to remind her of what she had lost, but to tell her stories about the amazing person she was. He read with expression and emotion, bringing the words to life. Sometimes Emma would smile with recognition, sometimes she would listen, as if hearing about someone else entirely. Both reactions were okay. What mattered was that they were together, that love persisted even when memory did not. Marcus also learned to let go of his need for Emma to be the person she was before. He grieved that person, mourned the future they would never have. But he also discovered that he could love the person Emma was becoming. She was more present in moments, noticing details she might have overlooked before. She laughed more freely, finding joy in simple pleasures. She showed affection without reservation, unburdened by past hurts or future worries. There was a purity to her experience of the world that was both heartbreaking and beautiful. Their friends struggled to understand. Some distanced themselves, unable to cope with the sadness of watching Emma's decline. Others offered well-meaning but useless advice about experimental treatments and miracle cures. But Marcus's sister, Diana, became their anchor. She visited regularly, sitting with Emma so Marcus could have breaks, helping with medical appointments, and never treating Emma as if she were already gone. One evening, about 3 years after the diagnosis, Diana found Marcus standing at the kitchen counter, staring at the spot where Emma used to leave her coffee mug. "Do you regret it?" Diana asked quietly. "Staying, I mean. Building your life around this disease?" Marcus was quiet for a long moment before answering. "Every single day, I wish things were different," he said. "Every single day, I wish we had more time, that her mind wasn't betraying her, that we could grow old together the way we planned." "But regret staying? Regret loving her through this?" He shook his head. "Never. Love isn't just for the easy moments, Diana. It's not just for when someone can remember your anniversary or recall the story of how you met. Love is showing up when things are hard. It's finding ways to connect even when traditional communication fails. It's honoring someone's dignity when they can't always honor it themselves. Emma gave me 7 years of her completely present self. Now I give her however many years we have left of my completely present self. That's not sacrifice, that's love." Diana hugged her brother tightly, tears in her eyes. "You're teaching me what real love looks like," she whispered. As time continued its relentless march forward, Emma's condition progressed. There came a day when she no longer recognized Marcus by name, though she still smiled when he entered the room, still reached for his hand, still seemed to find comfort in his presence. He chose to believe that some part of her soul recognized his soul, even if her mind could not. Marcus created new rituals to replace the old ones. Every morning he made Emma's coffee and placed it 3 inches from the edge of the counter, the handle at a 45-degree angle. He did it for both of them, a small act of remembrance and love. He read to her from her journals, even when she didn't understand the words. He played the lullaby she used to hum, letting the melody fill the silence. He maintained the life they had built together, even as the person he had built it with slowly disappeared. But here's what Marcus discovered in those difficult years, the truth that changed everything. Emma hadn't disappeared entirely. She was still there, in the warmth of her smile, in the gentle pressure of her hand in his, in moments of unexpected clarity when her eyes would focus, and she would say something that revealed the brilliant mind still fighting beneath the fog. She was there in the kindness she showed to the nurses who came to help, in the way she still tried to organize things even when she couldn't remember why, in her laughter at simple jokes. Marcus realized that he had fallen in love with Emma's habits because they were visible expressions of her invisible qualities. Her organization reflected her desire to bring order and beauty to the world. Her counting reflected her search for pattern and meaning. Her gentleness with plants reflected her nurturing spirit. Those qualities didn't disappear when the habits did. They simply found new ways to manifest. 5 years after the diagnosis, Marcus was helping Emma get ready for bed when she looked at him with sudden clarity. Her eyes focused in a way they rarely did anymore, and she spoke his name. "Marcus," she said, her voice stronger than it had been in months. "I'm here, Em," he said, his heart racing at hearing her say his name. "I don't remember most things anymore," she said slowly, carefully forming each word. "But I remember that I love you. Even when I can't remember your name or how we met or what we did yesterday, somewhere deep inside, I remember that feeling. I remember love." Marcus felt tears stream down his face as he held her close. "I remember too," he whispered. "I remember everything for both of us. And I'll keep remembering, keep loving, for as long as we have." That moment of clarity was brief, lasting only a few minutes before the fog returned. But it was enough. It reminded Marcus why he had started this journey, why he chose to stay, why love mattered more than anything else. The story of Marcus and Emma doesn't have a traditionally happy ending. Emma's condition continued to progress, and eventually, she required more care than Marcus could provide alone. But throughout everything, he remained by her side, adapting his love to meet her where she was, rather than mourning where she used to be. What Marcus learned is what we all need to understand about love. Real love isn't about loving someone when they're easy to love. It's about loving them when they can't remember why you love them. It's about finding new ways to connect when old ways fail. It's about honoring the essence of who someone is, even when the surface details change beyond recognition. He loved her little habits more than anything because they were the first glimpses into her soul. But he learned to love her even more when those habits faded because he finally understood that the soul beneath the habits was what truly mattered. Emma's organized desk and counting stairs and 3 perfect sneezes were never what made her worthy of love. Her kindness, courage, creativity, and spirit made her worthy of love. And those things persisted in different forms even as her memory failed. In the end, love isn't about the habits or the memories or the perfect moments we capture in photographs and journals. Love is about showing up. It's about staying present. It's about finding joy in whatever moments you're given, whether they last a lifetime or just a few seconds of clarity. It's about loving the person, not the performance of who they are. It's about understanding that we are all more than the sum of our habits, more than our memories, more than our abilities. Marcus still keeps Emma's journals, still reads them sometimes when he needs to remember the woman she was before the disease. But more often he sits with the woman she is now, holding her hand, playing music she seems to enjoy, finding ways to bring moments of peace and happiness to her days. He has learned that love doesn't end when memory does. It transforms, deepens, becomes something more profound than he ever imagined possible. If you take anything from Marcus and Emma's story, let it be this: love the people in your life completely, habits and all. Cherish the little things that make them unique, but remember that those little things are just signposts, pointing toward something greater. Love the essence of who they are, the soul beneath the surface. Because life is uncertain, memories can fade, abilities can change, but the capacity to love and be loved remains the most powerful force in human existence. Show the people you care about that you see them, truly see them, in all their quirky, habitual, beautiful humanity, And when times get hard, when the habits change or disappear, when memory fails or bodies weaken, let your love adapt and persist. That's what Marcus did. That's what true love looks like. If this story moved you, if it made you think differently about the people you love, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. And most importantly, go tell the people in your life that you love them, habits and all, before another moment passes. Because Marcus would give anything to have Emma tell him one more time about her day, to see that coffee mug at its perfect angle, to hear her count stairs just one more time. Don't wait until the habits are gone to realize how much they meant. Celebrate them now, while you still can.